everyone, I'm Tiffany Almeida with Pretty in Paper Crafts, and this is our shaker card technique. We're going to be making this wizard happy birthday card. It looks magical. When I think of a wizard casting a spell, I think of a cloud of gold flakes. So I thought this was really cool, and it's a good boy birthday card, girl birthday card, any occasion birthday. I just really like the color combination. So I'm going to show you how we can make this fun shaker card for any occasion. So let's talk about what came in your class kit for this project. You should have received a lemon lime base. This is cut at the standard 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. So this should be your base. You'll also have a piece of the Night of Navy. It's been embossed for you with the, now I can't think of the name of the embossing folder, but it looks like this. So it has that already embossed on it for you. And then I used the Happy Birthday Thinlit die to cut out the center of your piece of Night of Navy. Now this is where the shaker material is going to be, the window. And you should also have a white Happy Birthday piece cut out from the Thinlits, and we're going to sponge it and use it for the front of our window. You should also have a piece of Whisper white paper. This is what we're going to stamp our wizard on and color him and cut him out. And then you should have inside your envelope, so make sure you check and shake your envelope if you can't find it, but you should have 3 lemon lime twist adhesive back sequins, and these are going to be our decorations. What you will need to provide is ink. I'm going to be using Memento Black for my wizard, and I'm going to be using Night of Navy to sponge the happy birthday. And then you'll also need to provide your own gold glitter flakes and your own window sheets. So I've cut my piece of window sheet at 3.5 by 3 3/4 so that it is big enough to go behind the Night of Navy and completely conceal the hole. So the first thing that we're going to do, I'm going to show you, is how to color your happy birthday. You'll definitely want to have a scrap of paper or something behind your happy birthday so you don't get your work surface all dirty when you're sponging. I'm going to flip it over here. And I'm going to be using the Night of Navy color. Now you can use a sponge or you can use a sponge dauber. I just use what's handy. I've got my sponge dauber here. It'd probably be quicker if I used my sponge, but I'm just going to show you how I'm going to go from the bottom to the top, and my darkest color is going to be at the bottom. My lightest color is going to be at the top. So I'm just going to be heavy with the color at the bottom, and you probably have to dab into your ink a couple times. Like so. Okay, and then as you start working your way up, you want to get lighter with the color. So when you sponge, you're just going to maybe touch, you know, a little bit lighter. Maybe not get so much ink refilled on your dauber, you know, and you just want to keep going lighter and lighter as you go up, like so, until you're happy with it. You can put as much ink on here as you want or as little ink as you want, but I thought it was a nice, kind of a cool way to get kind of an ombre look to it, and also helps it stand out a little bit from the Night of Navy cardstock. Okay, so once you're finished with the color and you're happy with it, you can put your ink away and get rid of your scraps. And the next thing we are going to do is stamp our wizard on our scrap of Whisper white paper. I'm using the Magical Day stamp set and the framelits that go with it in the bundle. And I'm using, oh yeah, I've already got it on a block. I'm using the wizard, so I've got my wizard who doesn't want to stick to the block. I'm going to get him inked up with Memento Black ink. I'm going to move my sample out of the way for a little bit. Don't want him to get too far away though, because we're going to refer back to him. Okay, so we've got our wizard, and I'm going to stamp him down. Now, these stamps are really cool because you have to color them in, and I actually enjoy coloring now because I get to use my blends, and I really like my blends. So we are going to do a little bit of coloring. The blends that I'm using for him are the Night of Navy, light and dark, to do his robes and his hat. I'm using the light smoky slate for the gray beard, and then I'm using the ivory for the skin tone. So those are the three colors I'm using. I'm going to start with his robe. I'm going to use the fine tip because he's got lots of sharp, kind of small areas that I don't want to get out of the lines too badly. So I just want to color him in. He's kind of cool. He's a pretty cool wizard. Now, if you get out of the lines like me, I don't have a very steady hand. You can go back over with your color corrector and push that color back in a little bit. So don't freak out. That's why I love blends. They make you look a lot better than maybe you really are, in my case for sure. So I'm just kind of following the outline. That's kind of how I like to color. I'll follow the outline and then color in. And if you wanted to make it a little bit faster, once you've colored the outline, you can go with the bigger tip and color it in quicker. Like so. And I love blends because they don't have all those marker lines that you get with traditional markers. That's why they're called blends. They blend in really well. Now, you might want to be careful because it can, if you apply too much color, it can bleed through the paper. And if you really care about whatever surface it is you're working on, you might want to put something down underneath it. So I am just kind of shading where I think there would be natural shade. Maybe underneath his arm here a little bit. Definitely at the bottom of his robe. And I'm going to definitely lighten these lines. I'm going to kind of dull the lines a little bit, so I'm not too worried if it looks really dark right now because I'm going to lighten it up. Okay, so I think that's enough for the shading. Now I'm going to soften those lines just by going back over with the lighter color and just kind of blending it in. You know, maybe part of his robe is lighter than others, maybe not. Maybe his arm is. Okay, so there we go. And the other thing that I did for his robe, I made his robe a little bit darker this time, but it's never going to be exactly the same with coloring. But the other thing I did was I stamped the little stars into his robe and his hat, just to kind of add a little bit more to his gown so that it wasn't just plain blue. So these are the little stars. And I'm taking the Night of Navy, which is the same color that I colored it in with, and I'm just going to center it on his gown and just stamp it. And then I wanted to get his hat. Let's see. Hopefully I can get his hat without going outside the line. Now I'm not worried about that one that went out because I'm going to cut this out with framelits and that's going to be cut out. So I can do that again down here. Anyways, it just gives some fun dimension to his gown, a little bit more than just plain clothing. So I think that's all I'm going to put on his gown. I'm going to clean off my my stamp so the ink doesn't dry. Okay, so now we got to color his beard. So I've got my light smoky slate. I've got my fine tip end because I got to do this little tiny beard. I'm just going to kind of dab at it. There we go. I actually stayed in the lines that time. There we go. He's kind of a cool looking wizard if you ask me. Well, you can have fun with it. His beard could be white. You know, maybe he's not an old guy. Maybe he doesn't have gray or white hair. Maybe he still has blonde, brown, or black hair. It's all up to you. And then I'm going to do his skin color, which I'm using ivory for. I'm glad that they provided skin colors, the bronze and the ivory, because it would be no fun to color if we couldn't get the right skin tone. Okay, so there he goes. Isn't he cool? All right, so then what we need to do is, well, first, remember how I told you that I can't stay in the lines? I'm gonna get my color corrector and I'm going to try and fix some of it, like on the bottom here. Because when you use the framelits and you cut it out, it does give a little kind of a white border around it. It doesn't cut right up to the line. So you will be able to see that I went out of the lines a little bit. So I'm just trying to push where I can, just trying to push that color back. And like, he doesn't have to be perfect, but that should be good. All right, so I'll put these other markers away. Now we're gonna do a little bit of big shot work. So again, you need to already own the stamp set and the framelits for this class if you want to do the wizard. I cannot stamp for you. I wish I could. That way you could color and cut out, but I can't. Against Stampin' Up! Policy, I cannot stamp for you. So you have to own the stamp set. But you could do another thing. If you had another stamp set that you wanted to use with this, you could totally substitute it out for whatever works. So we're gonna put our little guy here on top of our magnetic platform and get him cut out. This is a really, actually, pretty quick and simple card to make. It's a fun one. All right, so he is all done. Look at that, our little wizard. Okay, so let me put my framelit back. And let me show you how we put this all together. So I'm going to set him aside because I don't quite need him yet. So the first thing you'll want to do is put your window sheet on the back side of your Night and Navy cardstock. Now the back side is the side where it's indented. So the embossing fold, you want the embossed image to come and be bumpy and be raised. So the raised side is the front. Well, and of course, Happy Birthday would be backwards on the back. So I guess that's the easiest way to make sure you have it the right way. So you'll have your window sheet like so, and you can use adhesive, whatever you have, to glue the window sheet down. I think I'm going to just put glue directly on the corners of the window sheet as kind of my guide to where the glue needs to be. And actually, what you could do is, I'm going to bring this into frame. I'm going to do glue around the Happy Birthday so that the glitter doesn't slide through these little pieces, because the glitter is so thin and small that it can. So we'll just make sure this is sealed to the window sheet really well. We'll just put glue all the way around and in all those little creases. Now we want to be careful when we put this window sheet on to not shift it around too much, because then that Tombow glue is going to get everywhere. So we'll try to be very careful and put it down where it's going to be and not shift it. So just pushing it down a little bit. Don't want to squish the glue to the front of the window, but I think that should be good. So we'll let that dry for a second. And we can get our glitter flakes ready. They're going to be in the center of the card, so you can actually just put some glitter flakes down. The reason that you want to do it on the front of your base and not on your window is because then if you put it on your window, you wouldn't be able to turn your piece over and center it to your base. You want to put it here, you want to put the glitter flakes on the base, and then you can center that top piece and glue it down. So you can just put your little pieces in the center of your card where you know that the edges won't be touching. And then we need our adhesive strips. I was looking for them and had to get them out. Here's your adhesive strips. You again would need to get this separately. It did not come in your class kit. And so you will just build a box around the happy birthday. I'm going to carefully move this over and not touch it. Okay, so we're just going to build a box. And again, you want to get as close as possible to your happy birthday, the window, the cutout, because the glitter flakes will fall and sit along this edge. And if it's too far away, then you won't be able to see the glitter flakes in the window. So you want to get it as close as possible without seeing the foam adhesive strips through the window. I think there's a fine line, but if you keep it far away, then you have to just use more glitter flakes. So make sure your edges are really up close to each other, because you don't want the glitter flakes to escape through and shed all over the recipient of your card. That would be bad. Okay, and then I'm going to cut off my extra, maybe. And I'm actually going to use this on my card to kind of help support the bottom, and I'm going to get another piece and use it to help support the top. So I've got my, just cut a piece off, put it down. All right, so now we're going to peel the backing off of our window. Come on. So you want to get all the backing off of your adhesive foam strips and bring back your base with your glitter on it. And flip this over, and you're going to set it down where you think it's centered. I think that's good for me. I'm just going to make sure that all the foam strips are pressed down really well so none of that glitter will escape. Okay, so there you go. Now my glitter, even when it's resting, you can see it through the window. Okay, now we're not done. We need to glue down our happy birthday back into the center of the cutout. So you're going to use adhesive and just glue that down. It's just going to sit right inside where it normally would have if it hadn't been cut out. So we'll do that now. And be careful with that glue, that liquid glue. A little goes a long way, and I always tend to squeeze too hard and get too much out. The fine tip glue is really good for this, but I had this handy, so I'm taking a risk. And we're almost done. I'm just kind of tracing all the letters. I want it all to lay down flat. So that should be good. And again, just try to be careful and make sure where you lay it down is where you want it to be, because you don't want to spread the glue everywhere. So there we go. Just hold down the pieces where you think it needs a little bit of convincing. Sometimes some of the edges like to stick up a little bit, but that is it. And then you want to glue your little wizard to the bottom. Makes it look like he summoned that happy birthday and all that glitter. It's kind of cool. And I didn't put him on dimensionals because there's a lot of dimension going on with this card because of the shaker, because of the foam adhesive strips. And if you want any chance of mailing this out, then you probably don't want too much more dimension. So I kind of just off-centered him a little bit so I can see most of the happy birthday, but I wanted him to look like he's summoning the happy birthday magic. And then the last little piece is you just need a little bit of bling, just a little bit, just some magical sequins, the sticky magical sequins, the ones that are magically sticky. Okay, and that's it. What a fun card. What a fun card for anyone, a girl, boy, a kid, or an adult. Just a really, really neat magical card. So I hope you enjoyed this card and that you are able to share this creation with someone special.